Sometimes you just got to YOLO it. Oh, you have people arriving. I was literally about to say I'm going to go YOLO, but you're joining me.
How's it
How you
going?
doing?
Not too bad. How are
Yeah,
you?
yeah. So did you watch it?
I didn't watch it in the end.
No. See.
No, I just saw the updates on Sky Sports, and I was just flicking between the Leicester game. Yeah, that was a little bit boring, so I was just following the relegation a little bit. But yeah, the game was kind of like, I knew even though we scored that we'd lose, which is a shame. Just it's all about the takeover now, isn't it? To be honest, but I'm sure we'll come on to that.
It's crazy, isn't it? Just like, as much as we wanted to celebrate scoring, you're thinking, we've just probably pissed them off even more now.
Yeah, I just thought at least it wouldn't be like a hammering. I didn't see like a 6 or 7-1. So us scoring first, thought at least it wouldn't be like a 4 or 5-0 is the only like benefit. And I guess we stayed in 13th because Crystal Palace drew with Spurs. So it's a bit of comfort there.
Yeah, Bruce didn't manage to achieve his milestone of.
I'm glad he didn't beat Rafa's record. He can put that to rest. They're watching him. The takeover guys, they're watching him. These last 4 or 5 games has been a shambles. I don't care if we played City twice and he's saying Spurs and Liverpool. Like, there's just shambles.
Pete, what do you make of it today, man? Obviously, we weren't going to win, did we? But it's nice to show up.
I got to be honest. I was watching the game and got to like 2-1. I had 2 games on. I had the Newcastle game, and on my phone I was watching the Leicester Man U game because I actually had something riding on it. So I'm watching the game and I'm getting to like 80 something minutes. I'm thinking 2-1. That's not bad. I'll take that. You know what I mean? And that just says a lot. But in all seriousness, I'm joking. But in all seriousness, when I looked at that starting lineup and we talked about it on the preview, I'm thinking we should be going for these. We've got nothing to fear. Nothing to fear. You look at that starting lineup. You look at their front three. You're looking at their back line. You're thinking that's a weakened team. And there's no reason why, being the home team and with a stronger squad available to us than we've had in the last couple of games, that we shouldn't go for it. And we didn't. I mean, obviously we scored the goal early on, but it's a mentality thing. It made me laugh. We got the goal. I'm thinking, hey, fucking hell, we scored it. But what did we do after 30 seconds? We're going to sit 5 men behind the ball. Or, well, in fact, more than 5 men. We sit 8 or 9 men behind the ball. Look, it's Liverpool. They're going to break you down at some point if you're just going to go and sit there and try and just defend it off for 89 minutes. So my mind was made up. I knew what was coming. I knew they were going to score. It was a shame in how they scored. Poor defending for the first one. A couple of decent goals after that, but ones we should have really defended better for. And it's just a typical Newcastle story, really. And that's it. I've not really got much to add on that. I'm actually kind of looking forward to having a break and not having Newcastle on the TV. I've got to be honest, just because it's draining. I don't know what you guys have felt like, Marv, Clinton. The last 5 games or so, they've just been draining. I've just kind of been waiting for the season to end.
Yeah, since we got knocked out in the FA Cup, and what happened in that situation, it's just been nothing really to play for. I wouldn't say necessarily the lads have been on the holidays, but it's just seemed like it's just been drifting and coasting through. Things such as injuries to the back line, excuses, and our fixture list just all seem to have a number of excuses. But I think generally the season's been quite poor. If you look at the top 4, that was getting you 6th or 7th last season. So I just think there's been a lot of inconsistency, and certain teams have done well, like Sheffield United have been punching above the weight, but generally a lot of teams haven't done well. I even saw Jose Mourinho celebrating like he won the league when Spurs came 6th.
Finished 6th.
So they finished 6th. I know from where they came from, he's done really well, but that just says it all. Jose Mourinho celebrating a top 6 finish. So
this is the thing that frustrates me about Newcastle, and it frustrates me about the lack of ambition, because over the last 6 or 7 years, there's been seasons like this where you haven't had to get a massive points total to get quite far up the league. I mean, you can talk about Leicester's miracle season in 2016, the season we got relegated. All of the top teams didn't turn up that season. It's, although Leicester were fantastic, a lot of the top teams didn't turn up, and they were able to really just keep their momentum going. There's a case a couple of years ago where, there were one or two teams that got quite high up and were challenging off very little points. We did it when we finished 10th on our first season back with Rafa. We finished 10th with 43 points. That's the lowest total for anyone finishing 10th for a long time. And now 43 points this season fits as what? In 13th place. And you've got Southampton that are in 11th place on 52 points. You know what I mean? You get these seasons where it doesn't take a lot of points to get up there. And it's frustrating, that lack of ambition that we have, that we haven't got the ambition to really want to kick on. We haven't got an owner that really wants to kick on. We haven't got a manager that's ambitious and forward thinking, or has any tactical nous. And that frustrates me, because there's your in. Wolves have benefited from that in the last couple of years. Sheffield United have benefited from this year, although they finished ninth, but they had a fantastic season for long parts. And, I want it to be us. I want us to have that. I want us to be able to take advantage of that, and I can't see it.
Yeah, it's just, I just want to, going back to the game. Well, in fact, there's not much to talk about the game, really.
No, there's not.
I finished off like yourself, Pete, after 2-1. I didn't even see the Mane goal. I just seen it pop up. I was actually watching the Man City game, because that was free to air, and obviously got my money's worth, 5-0 in that, but obviously they played Norwich City. So yeah, there's not much to report on with our game. The only one thing I would say is the shining light is that Kel Watt's got to run out, which I'm happy, because we need to start investing in our youth. There's no point in them being there if they're not going to get an opportunity at a club. I thought I also had I was doing something in the background, and I had obviously the game on. And then they said, Longstaff's coming. I was like, oh, right, really? And then I was seeing it as Sean. Oh, right, okay, cool.
Matty wasn't even in the squad.
Wow.
which tells you your own story, really, in that if this takeover, and I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago or a week ago, I've said that there's a window now with Matty Longstaff. There's a window in the takeover. You've got a week, maybe a week and a half, to kind of get this deal done, in terms of the takeover. If it's not done by then, he'll obviously want his future sorted out, because the season's in a quick turnaround. And if it's not, he'll go. It's as simple as that. I'm even more convinced now that the situation is that Mike Ashley has said that, until he signs, he don't play. And he only comes on a sub. And I honestly believe that's the case. Steve Bruce can say whatever he wants, that it's not related to contract, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. It's related to contracts, and it's obvious, and every Newcastle fan can see it. And it's a shame. If he does leave, it's a shame that he's gone out this way. He should have played more games in this restart. And that's on the manager. That's on the manager, because the manager, regardless of what Mike Ash says, the manager should still have the power to turn around and say, no, I want to play him. And he would have got the respect of the Newcastle fans if he'd have turned around and done that and said, no, I'm playing him, and gone against the owner, the hopefully outgoing owner. So that's poor. It's poor.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose while we're here, we might as well talk about relegation zone. Aston Villa managed to stay up. That is surprising to me, because I thought they was destined to go down, but they managed to stay up. Watford have gone down. Bournemouth have gone down. Norwich are obviously down already. So I slightly got to say congratulations to them. They managed to pull it off.
Yeah, they've done well. They've done well. I think they've got a bit of luck along the way. They've played teams that weren't playing well, or had nothing really that much to play for, particularly the Arsenal game. Arsenal went through the motions in that last game, and they just got that goal and just sat on it. And sometimes you have to do that. I feel sorry for Bournemouth. They've gone away to Goodison Park and won 3-1 and actually played well today. I kind of feel sorry for them, but at the same time, they've had a whole season and they've had some awful results. So it is what it is. Fair play. You can't. Watford have been yo-yoing for years. They've been yo-yoing up and down. They'll have a fantastic season where they're fighting for Europe, like they were last season, and they'll have another season where they'll be awful. I fully expect to see Villa down there again, if I'm honest with you, next season, regardless of how much they spend. I think they'll lose Jack Grealish. Who he goes to, I don't know. But I think they lose him. And if they lose him, they lose the spark. It's all right them having 50, 60 million or however much they get for him. But can you replace that influence? Can you replace a captain in the team that has the influence like Jack Grealish has had over the course of the season? I doubt it. And now there's interest in John McGinn as well. Does John McGinn want another relegation battle? I know we've been linked with him, but I'm sure there'll be other teams above us that will be looking at him because I think he's a fantastic central midfield player. And if you lose those two, I honestly feel they'll be down there again, which could actually help us. It could actually help us because if we go into the new season, the next season without the takeover going through for whatever reason, we'll want those teams down there. We'll want the Leeds, we'll want the Villas because they'll be the teams that we'll be battling against, and it might give us an opportunity to again stay up. But hopefully not. Hopefully we're not in that position.
Yeah, was you gonna say, Marv?
Yeah, as much as the whole, I guess, 2009 sob on the Tyne, I actually, in a weird way, wanted Villa to stay up. And I'd say they've tightened up over the last 3 or 4 games, where even they nicked a point against us, and then the Arsenal result, and yeah, today as well. And it was fitting that Jack Grealish scored the goal that literally kept them up, because if they didn't score that and the other goal went in, they would have been relegated. And I guess, yeah, it's just an accumulation of points over the season, and yeah, they deserve it. But yeah, I agree with what Pete said, whereby they're going to use Jack Grealish. They're probably now going to get a better price for Jack Grealish, and once they lose him, they will struggle. They seem to, their signings, I don't think have been that great, to be honest, recently, and they spent a lot of money. If they had got relegated, they would have been in serious financial trouble with like the COVID and getting relegated, how much it would have cost them, and trying to get rid of their players. Like, how much value have they got? I'd say Mings, McGinn, and Grealish. The rest of them, it's thrown up in the air, really. They haven't got too much value there. So, yeah, they really needed to stay up, Villa, and they need to look at who are they signing, because they've bought a couple of duds, I'd say. So they really need to look at they should be doing better than that. I know they just came up, but they need to be looking to kick on, which I don't think they'll do because they'll lose Grealish.
It'll be interesting to see what. Sorry, go on.
Now, Fumbi in the house looking like he's going for a rap battle, man. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm just trying to stay warm, man.
All right, look, I thought he was coming out of 8 Mile, bro. What's going on? You going against Rabbit, yeah?
Nah, man. I thought it was a nice end to the season. I like the drama that was unfolding. I was kind of excited. Like I thought Bournemouth might do it, but Villa won, man. Villa did the thing.
I know, man. It's interesting. It's interesting for next season, who we got to go to next season. Aston Villa still remains a bogey team for us, I think. Obviously, Watford have gone down, so that's an interesting one. Can they get picked apart? Bournemouth will be an interesting one because I reckon a lot of their players will, come back into Premier League via different teams. So yeah, it's just interesting.
Guys, we need to spare a thought for Philip Billing. I saw him on the floor. So Huddersfield last year, he got relegated. And again, he got double relegations, a killer. It's like, he needs to be careful. I hope we don't buy him. Just for that very thing. Don't want to take it.
As a player, you just don't want that on your record, do you? You
No.
don't want that on your record twice.
Not a double.
And back-to-back seasons as well, back-to-back relegations.
When I saw his face, I was just thinking, like, not again. What's his missus going to say to him tonight? Like,
I don't know what you guys think, but there's been a lot of talk recently, over recent days, about, and I've seen people put out on social media lists of players from the 3 relegated teams, and they've got these big lists drawn up of players who they would like to sign. I don't know what you guys think, but in my opinion, I'm not picking too many players from those teams, and the reason being is that they're being relegated for a reason. You know what I mean? You're being relegated from a seat for a reason. Like, it's okay picking out and buying all these players from all these teams that have been relegated, but if they've been relegated with them, there's a chance they're going to be relegated with you if they're going to play that same way. Now, I'll be honest.
That's different, Pete. Come on, there's players and there's teams. Like if you're cherry picking the best ones, that's okay. I'm not saying we want all of Norwich's team plonking in black and white.
But that's the point I'm making, Clint. Is that there's so many people out there that are saying like
4 and 5 from each team,
4 and 5 from
There's
Norwich,
1 or 2
5.
like Aarons and Grealish, but not too many. Yeah, not too many.
There's probably a player I'd take from each of the relegated teams. From Bournemouth, I'd take Callum Wilson. I know we've been linked with him purely because we need a striker that knows where the goal is. So I'd take him. From Watford, I'd take Decor in midfield because I think he's too good. He's too good for a bottom half of the Premiership team. He should be at a team at the top half. And I know there was a couple of years ago, PSG were linked with him heavily and wanted him. And I think he's a talented player. I mentioned the other day, he reminds me a lot of Diarme in the way he plays, but actually scores more goals. And then Norwich, there's talk about Cantwell. I don't see it, not yet. I'd take Max Aarons if I was going to take anyone from that team. You got Buendia. The Argentine midfielder, but he's going to a top team because he's a fantastic talent. But Max Aarons you could get, and we need a right back, a forward-thinking right back. So there'd be the 3 players that really I'd take from there. Other than that, I'm not taking too much more. I've got to be honest.
Yeah, that's enough for me. I mean,
that's fair.
Nathan Ake is probably going to Man City. It looks like so that's out of the question. But pretty much that's spot on. Pete. I mean, definitely from Norwich, I wouldn't take too many because they haven't looked too appealing this season. I mean, Pookie had a good start to the season, and after that, he just dwindled off. Bournemouth, again, they're getting picked apart anyway. Ryan Fraser already handed his notice in early on. Yeah. And then the other team, Watford as well. You know, Watford only got really Decore and who's the other one? Delafeu. That's about it, really. The rest of them.
What about Sarr? Ishmael Sarr?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, take him.
But he's another one. Unless we've got that, in the words of Fumbi, unless we've got the Arab money, is he going to come to us? Because he's a talented young lad, and he could go play at Wolves. You know what I mean? And play European football. He could go to an Arsenal and play there. You know what I mean? He's that talented, and it's whether you got the money behind you. If you got the money behind you to slap it down and say, I want you, come and sign for me, I give you big wages, then you're going to get him. But in our current climate, there's no way he comes to us.
Okay.
What do you think about Troy Deeney?
Nah, stop it, bro. He's done.
He's done in these streets, man.
He's looking for punditry roles, man. He's not looking for Premier League.
We've already got Andy Carroll.
True.
We've already got Andy Carroll. We don't need Troy Deeney.
Yeah, we can't be carrying too many 30-year-old girls. You know what I mean?
I'm not saying that I want him. I just wanted your thoughts on it. He's a great leader. I'd love to have him like just maybe around the dressing room, but not playing. Like, no, we don't need him. We need someone quick, mobile, fit, energetic, and for me, he doesn't fit any of that. I'm sorry to say, but yeah, that's that one really. But let's get into it then. Come on, Pete. Take over now. Season's done. There's no excuses. It's got to happen now.
Transfer window starts tomorrow. Come on.
Marv, you mentioned talking about Chronicle putting out some rumours. I haven't seen them. I need to hear it now. We've got a month pretty much. That's it.
It was Ben Jacobs. Ben Jacobs today, who's actually he works for TalkSport, but he's a Leicester City fan. He's put out a few questionable things recently because he has actually got links to Qatar, and over the takeover period, he's been putting out a lot of things that are very much Qatar sort of positive in his writing. So a lot of Newcastle fans have been on his back. However, he came out and said today that he's had some sort of meeting with a high up Saudi ranked person within the PIF, and they've basically come out and said to him that the deal's done. He's kind of not.
Everyone comes up with that.
I know. But I think the reason why people have taken a little bit of notice of it is because he is very heavily Qatar supported in terms of how he writes. So the fact that he's come out and said that he's had this conversation, they've said the takeover's done, is what's kind of grabbed their attention on the back of it. So he said that obviously the Chronicle and one or two other places have kind of grabbed hold of it, but we don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what's going on. But like you said, this is the window now. Season's done. Transfer window opens tomorrow. This is it. You've got a window of say, 2 weeks? You've got about a 2 week window to get this deal done. For me, I'd even go as far as saying you get this done this week. You've got Monday to Friday. Get it done, get it signed off so the money can be transferred, right? There is no reason because all the Premier League, it's on the Premier League now. It's not even on the owners. It's not even on the buyers. It's on the Premier League because the Premier League are delaying this, right? It was said the other day that the Premier League asked the buyers their last round of questions last Friday. Not this Friday just gone, the Friday before. They've now responded midway through this week and answered those last lot of questions. Right, the questions are done. They should be wrapping this up now. So we really should hear something this week. And if we don't, it is on the Premier League. The Premier League have clearly got some sort of agenda if it goes up beyond this week. Because we need time. We need time for the money to transfer, which will take a few days. We then need time for the owners to come in and establish what they want to do with the club. They're already in a hindrance already because the season's finished. We've got a 3 week break before pre-season starts. They've had no chance to come in and even have a look around the club and to see what needs doing in preparation for this season. So we're already behind the rest. You watch in the next week, all the other Premier League teams will start making signings, but we won't make the sign. Yeah,
we're not going to sign anyone in the next week.
We'll make signings, but we probably won't make them this week, as you said, Mark. I agree with you, but that already puts us behind everybody else because the targets that the new owners probably won't be able to get because they'll already be going elsewhere. They've already come out and said this week that they that some of their targets that they were looking at have already gone because they've already decided to join other clubs. We don't know who those targets are. So it means that they're already fighting a losing battle there.
Pete, let me put this to you then, and you, Marv, as well. Say, for example, this doesn't happen, and we've got these 3 loan players. Do we keep any of them free, first of all? Like Bentaleb, Rose, and who's the other one? I can't remember. Lazaro, that was the other one. Do we keep any of those free?
Bentaleb for me, no. Rose, I didn't see how he was today, but I'd keep him if it's less than 10 mil. And Lazaro, maybe another loan, but depends who we can get. I don't know how he played today. Did he play right wing back today?
Rose?
Lazaro, yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit like a wing back. It was, you know what? It was a weird one because I don't think he played bad.
Yeah.
But the fact that we scored the goal so early and just sat deep didn't give us an opportunity for us to see
like 25%
his ability going forward. Yeah. So you want that guy on the ball. You want him running at defenders and causing havoc the other end because we've seen him do it in the little glimpses before lockdown. So you can't. It's hard to judge. I thought Rose played well today. I have to be honest.
Yeah.
I thought he had a decent game. He's playing left centre back again. I thought he played well. But I'm the same as you, Mark. Bentaleb, thank you for what you've done. Go back to Schalke and try and get your deal elsewhere. Let them deal with you. Rose, if it's for 5 mil and you're on reasonable wages, I take you. And Lazaro, another loan.
The thing with Lazaro is if he's going to play and he's going to start, on the right side, but I really think Maximin needs to be on the right and crying out, we really need a striker. But if we got a really good left-footed attacker who takes the pressure off Maximin, then it would be a different kettle of fish because we've also got Richie defensive on one side and Maximin. But if you've got 2 attacking, one on either side, a left footer, I don't know who, I think it would really balance us out because just swapping for Atsu's got to go out and then bring a left-footed attacker in. Like the dream would be Leon Bailey, but dreaming there.
Leon Bailey, you're talking 70 million to get Leon Bailey, but you're right, he's a talented boy.
Yeah, I just think a left-sided attacker with the striker will make such a difference to the attack because you're literally talking an attacker up front, striker, left-footed attacker on the left, and then Maximin on the right is a different ball game. Just
for me, we're just
totally
talking
different.
about if this takeover doesn't go ahead, you know, we've got to be realistic. Who do we keep out of the free loan signings? Who are we getting rid of? Like, come on, play devil's advocate for a minute.
If the takeover doesn't happen, we should just look forward to relegation. That's all. Doesn't matter who we keep. Doesn't matter who we sign. Okay, we're
Stop
going
being negative, Brumby, man. Come on, play the game.
The words of Mary J. Blige, we going down. Hey, understand this, yeah? Steve Bruce basically didn't look at Tottenham. Like, you could just see that, you know what? Mourinho's planning for next season. You can see, bro, something's coming here. You're Steve Bruce. I'm just like this. Another season of this. Like, he can't. He put Maximum behind Dwight Gayle today. Why? Who told him that was the way forward? Puts Almiron back in midfield. Why? What's your plan here, sir? Like, what are your ideas here, sir? He's literally just hoping something magical happens. He has no idea. Zero. We could keep anybody. First of all, if we don't get a takeover, we're not signing any players. Believe that. We're going to loan everybody who's over 40 into the Premier League. We're going to be giving careers to people fully done. We're going to get Lallana. Watch this. We're going to get Lallana.
Brighton have got him.
He's going Brighton.
Go to Brighton. Oh,
even Brighton are making moves, man.
I thought that's who we're going to get. We're going to tank if we don't get taken over. I'm going to cry for a week. All right, and then I'm going to come back in September and just pray for every game.
You wouldn't take any of the loan players then for me?
No, I'd rather we put Matty Longstaff and John Longstaff in the team. Ben Taleb can go. Lazaro, it's not that he's not a good player. Steve Bruce had the opportunity to play him. As soon as we were safe, stop playing Maximum. Start seeing these players. No, still trying to gain some points. So I have no idea what Lazaro does. What does he do? I don't know. So to keep him or not, I don't know. Ben Taleb, we just know, like you guys said, he doesn't do much. And after that tweet, I can't trust him. I saw a post saying we're going to pay 8.6 million for him and make him the highest paid player at the club.
I won't pay 2 million for him. Waste of a squad.
Who was that? Rose or Ben Taleb?
Ben Taleb.
They said we're going to pay him 80 grand a week.
Put Rolando Aaron's back in different positions, but I'd rather Aaron's in the 25-man squad than Ben Taleb.
And then we need to sell Atsu.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
I'd rather Jacob Murphy.
Hopefully, if we sell Atsu, we can get maybe 2 million from him, and then we can invest that.
What, actually, you want 2 million actually from Atsu? You want him to pay us?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that should be a new law in football. Certain players have to pay the club back for their performances for the past 5 years.
The fans are going to have to pay 2 million to get Atsu out at this rate.
Atsu owes
crowdfund.
money.
For me, I agree. I think I agree with a lot of what you said, particularly about the Lazaro thing. I think me and Marv both said the same thing.
He's not using it right.
He hasn't, and that's the worry. That's the worry going into next season, that he's not using the players right. I worry about how we're going to start next season because we've had such a poor end to the season. Even you're looking at St. Maximin today, he doesn't look like the same player that started Restart, that looked dynamic and dangerous. It looks like he's kind of just going through the motions, and to have him finish the season in that way, it worries me going into next season because he was easily played against. I know it was against Liverpool, but you could say the same against Watford. You could say the same thing against, Brighton. He really easily played against, and that's what I don't want. I want him more. I want him firing. And
you know what, Pete? I think once just cut there, I just think sometimes for him it's hard to stay motivated when he's probably looking around and thinking, "What? I've got to do it all myself every single time."
No, I agree. I agree.
Because we don't have a proper system either.
No, we don't have a system.
It's just let him. I think like Man United are a bit like that, to be honest. They rely on individual qualities where I don't think Solskjaer has a clue. Steve Bruce as well doesn't have a clue. What's he trying to do? That just shows when Maximin's out of the team, the difference, because he pushes up the pitch. He allows us to create a lot more. And if he's not playing well, there's a correlation between we're not getting a win. If he's not playing well, even like the last 5 or 6 games, he's not been playing that well. It's not a criticism of his, and then we're not getting the points.
Yeah. I think it's the team, though, Marv. I think it's the team. Yeah. We've not looked good. We've looked out of ideas. Like Gayle will score, and then that's it.
Yeah,
we've done a shift.
He's the only positive. He's the only positive. It's nice to actually have a striker up front that makes forward runs and that can score. But the goal that we scored today, this is what we've been talking about, Clinton. This is what I've been talking about with you on the previews and on the other things. The Shelvey and Gayle have an understanding. That understanding wouldn't be there. We wouldn't have scored that goal today if Joe Linton was playing up top, because he wouldn't have had the intelligence to make that run and try and catch a team out. Gayle and Shelvey have that understanding. Gayle wants to break the lines and get forward. Yes, he doesn't hold the ball up. Yes, he's not great in the air, but he makes the defender run backwards. And I like that. I just wish that we were more forward thinking, because it would mean that Gayle would be in the game even more and give him more opportunities to score goals. But we do something like that, which is fantastic, which is not, it's not coached. That's nothing from Bruce. That's just the players having an understanding with each other. And then we sit defensively and we think, right, we're going to sit for 89 minutes and defend the ball. That's a mentality issue. That's what we need to get rid of as a club, because we've had that for so long. We need to get rid of that. I don't believe Bruce is going to get rid of that mentality out of those players. No. And the longer it's in those players, the likes of St. Maximin and Almiron and one or two have not been here long enough to be into that mentality. But the longer they're here, the longer they're going to get drawn into that mentality. Even the likes of Wijnaldum and Sissoko had that mentality with us. And you look at Wijnaldum since he left us and went to Liverpool, he's transformed. There's not many players over the years that leave Newcastle and transform and actually get better as players. He has, because he had the right mentality, but he was brought down by the negativity of the mentality of the club, the squad, the players. We need to get rid of that.
I can't believe we had Wijnaldum. I can't believe it. I honestly can't believe we had a player like Wijnaldum. I can't.
But you go down the list.
No, he wasn't going to be there for long. I always say the same thing about St. Maximin. I seem to him like he's not going to be here for long. When we signed Wijnaldum, I was like, nope, enjoy him while he's here. It's going to be a couple of seasons and he'll be gone. Even if he would have been gone, sold on, and he's just signed just for the sake of it's a good investment. That is it. So whoever we get next, who might be looking good, it's a good investment. Same as St. Maximin. If we double up and we get 35, 40 million, good investment. We're back where we started. Just where it isn't.
Yeah, to go back to your point with Shelvey and Gayle, I'm pretty sure Gale's like our second top goal scorer in the Prem. Is it 4 goals since the reset? That's embarrassing, man.
4 goals.
Yeah. 4 and 6. Shelvey has 6. That's 10.
And we only started playing after COVID. Put that in mind.
Embarrassing. That's good for Gayle. That's embarrassing.
You know what? Yeah,
it's shocking.
If you look at it from a manager's point of view, if that's what his performance is over a season, you'd get sacked. The board should be sacked for signing a player for 40 million, a player who hasn't played since the beginning of the season has outscored him. That's a sackable, and they have the nerve to do a director's test on the Saudi people. I will take Satan right now.
There was a stat with Joe Linton. I think he was the 3rd player, I don't know, in the last maybe 15 years to play all of the game's involvement outfield player. I think Gary Speed was one of them, and there was another player. So there must be someone in his contract. Fair. The only thing I can say, he stayed fit the whole season. He's played every game in involvement. That's it. That's all I can say. That he's not with the injury records. Yeah.
Marv, did you see how bad he played when he come on though?
I didn't manage to see the game, but was he terrible? I can imagine he was.
Honestly, when he come on, he's just like a Bambi on ice. I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to feel sorry for him. I'm starting to feel like he's been put in a situation that is not of his choice, and he's just having to get on with it. And the fans are getting on his back, and rightly so, because he's not good enough. But I'm starting to seriously believe that something's not right here. This deal that we put together to get Joe Linton in, something is dodgy about this deal because
So dodgy.
he's not a striker and he's not worth 40 million. And you just look at him and he's like, for example, I think it was like 88th, 89th minute. The ball just bounces around and it falls to him. I think it's a mistake from the defender. It falls to him and he's got in his one-on-one with Gomez and he gets the ball. He tries to do a little trick and he tries to take him on and it's just horrible. It's just the worst thing, and he just gives the ball back to the defender and doesn't even chase it down. He just realizes it goes, and then it's gone. And he just kind of just like jogs up to him, just stands there, and there's just nothing from him.
This is what I mean. You could do all, yeah. You could do all the. You could, yeah. Go on.
I was literally going to say at the end is that I fear for him next season because I fear he could be worse than this season. I genuinely believe that he could be worse than this season next season. And that would be hitting some records. If we don't get him out, I honestly believe he could go through next season without scoring at all.
Pete, I honestly think that we signed him on a bet or like a 2-for-1. Like, there's rumours that St. Maximin and Joe Linton are on the same management. And I reckon that we had to sign Joe Linton to get St. Maximin.
In my mind, I swapped the prices around. I said this before in my head.
Like you're in a shop.
Have to, for sanity.
Swap the price tags around. I think on that. Like, here you go.
Have to. And even the 16.5 for Joe Linton, I'm like, oh.
Can I just say, the way I see our club right now, if we were in Bournemouth's position today and we had to go to Everton to win, to stay up, we wouldn't have won.
No. I agree.
And that's the problem we are. We would never have won that game. And that's what I can't take. Like, we have nothing in us other than people were praising Bruce all season. He's done a great job. And we're all sitting there like, what job? Like, what have you done?
Yeah.
Like, I can't trust this for next season.
And this is what I was saying to the Liverpool guys when we were on the preview, because of opposition fans don't see what we see because they don't follow the club in the same way that we do, in that we can see what happens on the pitch. We can see on the games. You watch Bruce on the touchline, and he's kind of like half thinking of an idea, but then he kind of stops himself, and he doesn't know what he's doing. He's just kind of like pointing, but not saying any words, and he's kind of like trying to look like he's directing, but he's not. And it's embarrassing. That's the manager of the club. And if I was a player in that squad, I'd be thinking, what the hell is going on here? It turns into a free-for-all. He makes the subs today, and there's no structure, there's no organisation, there's no system. The players are just playing all over the place, and that's ultimately how Liverpool get their other 2 goals. Is that the structure in the system just falls apart, and there's no organisation coming from the manager. That's where the manager comes in to organise you, to tell you where you need to be and what moves and runs you need to make. There is nothing from him. And that's the worrying thing. And Fumbi is absolutely spot on. If we were in Watford's position, if we were in Bournemouth's position, we wouldn't have won today at Goodison Park or at the Emirates. We wouldn't have even scored a goal.
Even Aston Villa's position as well, if we were ahead.
Yeah, we wouldn't have got what we needed.
Needing a draw or whatever.
We would have got turned over by West Ham today. You're absolutely right, Marv. And that goes back to the mentality. It goes back to a mentality issue. You know, takeovers or not, we need to change the mentality of the club because it's been here not just for 13 years, it's been here for probably 15, 16 years now. Ever since Bobby Robson left, he changed that mentality of the club. He made us an attacking, forward-thinking team that was on the front foot, that teams feared. They came to St. James's Park and would put 5 defenders on and have 11 men behind the ball and try and defend them. We'd still break them down because we had that forward-thinking mentality. That's what we need back. And it's not going to come quickly unless we have that takeover, but it needs to go because that mentality will put us in a position where we are a Watford or a Bournemouth next season.
If it's not announced by Friday, it ain't happening, man. Because I don't want a whole summer. Remember when Rafa was supposed to sign, and we didn't find out that he's not signing till the third game into the Premier League. We didn't realize he's not our manager no more. I don't want none of that. I'd rather they come out this week and say, look, it's not happening. Get ready for next season so we can at least mentally prepare for the trash we're going to see. But what I can't take is some kind of saga where we're just checking updates and no one knows nothing. The Premier League should be held accountable for that.
Definitely. I 100% agree. This is all on the Premier League now. As I said before, the buyers answered, as far as we're aware, answered their final questions a week ago. Not this Friday, just on the Friday before. So the questions have all been answered as far as we're aware. It now should be wrapped up. So if it's not wrapped up by this Friday, like you said, or even by the week after that, that's all on the Premier League. It's not on Mike Ashley. It's not on the Saudis or Staveley. That's on the Premier League. And that makes me then start to believe, if it doesn't go through at that point, that there's another agenda here.
Yeah.
Everybody's calling for it. Everybody in the media is calling for it. Even Steve Bruce is coming out time and time again and saying, we need clarity. We need clarity. Everybody wants to know. You're telling me that's not affecting the players?
Mm-hmm.
The players don't know what's going on. The players, people like Fabian Schär, he doesn't know, with the takeover in limbo, he probably wants to leave. He's got a lot of Serie A teams interested in him. With injury or not, he will still go regardless. But he doesn't know whether he's going to be sold or whether he's staying. We don't know the players don't know what caliber of players are coming in. Everything's in limbo. Everything's up in the air. And that's all down to the Premier League. The Premier League have really lost credibility during this process.
And everyone's talking about human rights and Saudi's record of him. Nobody has upset the human rights of people more than Mike Ashley has at his 13-year tenure at Newcastle. He has done us dirty. We should be holding him out for human rights violations. That's what we should be doing.
All that stuff's been and gone. The human rights stuff, the Khashoggi stuff. It's all that was all sorted a long time ago. That kind of thing's not stopping this deal. Even the piracy stuff with the WTO report, we can go back into that. That was cleared up mid-June, 15th of June when that came out, I think it was. That's been cleared up since then.
All smoke screens. All smoke screens.
Of course it is. And it needs to be sorted out one way or another. But I still believe it will go through. But I believe that the Premier League have got some sort of agenda on it. But who knows? For all we know, it could get announced next week, and it could have been that the Saudis, because the Saudis are very particular, they want it all done and dusted before they announce. It could have been that it's been done and they're waiting. I don't know. But regardless, the Premier League need to sort it out, and they need to get it done as quickly as possible.
Let's end on a positive note. So obviously lost today, but the Bradford got announced that he's the player of the season. Just wanted to get your thoughts on if that's the right choice. Obviously, there's other contenders, St. Maximin. Fumi, why are you smiling for, bro?
Because
Why are you smiling for? I ain't even finished it.
The list was literally 2 names. It was a coin toss. It was a coin toss.
That's all.
It was heads or tails. Of course, he got player of the season. Who else would you give it to? Atsu?
I'm saying there's St. Maximin, there's Fernandez. Help me out, anyone?
Struggle. Shelby Hayden a push.
Hayden.
Hayden.
So underrated.
For me, there's 3 or 4. There's obviously the 2 standouts in Dubravka and St. Maximin. And then the other 2 I would have is Almiron for the goals that he scored. He ended up top scorer for us. And then I'd say John Joe Shelby. John Joe Shelby has been, for me, alongside Dwight Gayle, the biggest positive of this restart. I've actually been really, really impressed with John Joe Shelby. And we talked about it before, and the Liverpool guys mentioned it as well in terms of, I think it was Dej. He mentioned the recovery runs of John Joe Shelby and how hard he's working off the ball. He's really impressed me. He needs to continue that going into the season, because I honestly believe if he does, his goal tally of 5 will go up next year if he continues to work like that game in, game out. So he's improved. Almiron has got better from his half season under Rafa. He's got better. He's scoring goals now. He needs to be in a more attacking team. We're not going to get the best out of Almiron if he's not playing in a team that are more attacking. I'm sick of, the last 2 games against Brighton and today against Liverpool, he's playing as a central midfielder. He's basically a central midfielder. Like, that's how deep he is at times. That's what the system is allowing him to play as. That's not his game. He's a number 10 or a left-hand side, playing on the left-hand side of an attacking team. You're losing his quality there. So, but say regardless of all of that, he's still top scorer. He's scoring goals. He needs to obviously kick on next season. For me, Dubravka has to be player of the season. Without him, we get relegated.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter
say the
what
same.
St. Maximin does. It doesn't matter
he's getting
what
better,
brilliance
you
he does.
Dubravka's getting better.
Did you see his save today?
Bro,
From
I almost
Minamino?
cried. I said, when he said, "This is me," we don't deserve you. We
Outstanding.
don't deserve you.
Yeah,
We don't deserve you.
outstanding.
I
The
hate to
goals
say
he
things
does-
like this, but if Lampard had a brain on, it's just you get him. You'd be top, perfect for Chelsea.
Oh,
Why would you say that, Marv? Why? Why would you say
Marv's trying to
Look,
win. Marv's
there's
trying
a
to
lot.
Lampard's not here.
He's trying to wish him
Lampard's
a
too bothered arguing with Klopp.
Yeah,
Hey,
there's a lot
think
of big teams
about it, yeah.
out there.
He's no, but just to say he's a top 6 goalie, easy.
If you think about
Easy.
it, that's the kind of place you build from, right? You got a good
Yeah.
goalkeeper. You build from that. You know,
Yeah.
you build from that foundation. We are so annoying, honestly.
I mean, there's another team out there, Leicester City. They finished 5th with Kasper
Good.
Schmeichel's mistake. Did you see his mistake today?
Oh.
No.
For
You know it's
Lingard's
not your day
second
when
goal.
Lingard scores.
Yeah, it was horrific. But Kasper Schmeichel makes mistakes like that all the time, right? Yes, he won the league with Leicester, but since then he's been atrocious.
Dubravka's
For me,
never
what,
done
if I
anything like
was
that.
Brendan Rodgers, I'd be coming back to get the other best player of the season for Newcastle. He got
Hey,
Perez last
Pete,
summer.
you know
I'd be
what,
coming
Pete?
back to get Dubravka.
I'm so happy, yeah. Perez's form just dipped after lockdown because I didn't want him in Champions League. I didn't want him to have a good time. I was thinking, nah, they can't be shining outside of Newcastle. I'm
Look,
so
obviously,
happy.
being from Leicester, obviously a lot of Leicester fans around me. Their positivity when they talk about Perez is dwindled as the season's gone on. Obviously, when he scored that hat trick at the 9-0, they were thinking, "No," they were literally saying to me, 30 million. That's an absolute snip. He's fantastic. Now they're like, nah. they're like, we can see now what you guys were talking about, you know.
Yeah.
Because I said to him, he has moments. He has
Big
moments. He had small periods in the season where he has a purple patch, and then he has long moments where he does absolutely nothing. And they're now seeing that. He scored some goals, some important goals for them. Fair play, but they you know, the fact that Harvey Barnes is coming on before Perez now in a lot of games says to me that that's where they're looking at. They're
It's
looking
so
at
strange.
their
Pete. I
academy
feel like they threw that
graduates.
away. I feel like they threw that position away.
Yeah, what were they? 14, 15 points ahead of Man United going into just before the restart. And now Man United are 4 points ahead of them, finished 4 points ahead of them. That is throwing it away. But going back to Perez, you know, I wasn't disappointed of him leaving. I really wasn't. I was always more disappointed about Rondon going. Rondon for me was the key, because you can have Almiron and St. Maximin playing around Rondon, and you'd still get the amount of goals in all three of those players. Their goal ratios will go up. But you take Rondon out of the team and Perez, and you're going to struggle. And then you put
And
Joe
then you
Linton
bring in
there.
Joe Linton.
Hey, look,
Yeah.
guys, I'm trying to end it on a positive note. Stop trying to go back on.
Well, Dubravka's been unbelievable.
Yeah,
Yeah, there we go.
Right,
Let's
yeah.
Really, really, really good.
Dubravka
Yeah.
said maximum. If we can, let's hope for a takeover, man. We get a takeover. I don't even care who we sign. You see what I'm saying? As long as Ashley's gone, I don't care who we sign. I'll be okay. Bruce, if we get a takeover, give him the first 3 games. If we so much as win 1-0 in those first 3 games, I want him out.
Yeah, it's just come up on my phone. Apparently, the players and Steve Bruce have had a Zoom call with Mike Ashley after the game. So I'm hoping that he's done that to tell them that that's the last time he's in charge of a Newcastle game. I'm hoping he's Zoom calling them to tell them
out.
that. Obviously, he's zooming out. I like that, Marv.
He says,
We
zoom
should
right
get
out
that-
of here.
We should get that hashtag.
Make it a t-shirt.
Marv telling him to zoom out. I love it. But look, I think we're all hoping on some movement this week. And that's the positivity. The only positivity we can get out of this season is that we have new owners, a new ambition, and a new direction.
Right. Okay. Let's call it a day there. Right. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for joining me. Hopefully next time we speak, there will be a takeover happening. If not, then as I said, I'm going to Brentford. Pete's taking over, and season.
Clint, just before we go,
Yeah,
I just want to say, obviously, because this stream hasn't been going on too long. It hasn't been going on throughout the whole season. But obviously, on behalf of us, and I'm sure Fumby and Marv and Seb and Emmy and all that would say the same. I appreciate you guys, you putting it together, man, because you've given us guys a platform to come together, once or twice a week and talk about our club that we all love. And we've never had this sort of platform to do that before. And obviously, we've got lots of people listening in, asking questions and various other things. So big up to you, man, because you put this together, and we appreciate that.
Real talk, man.
Yeah,
I was lonely before I met you guys.
That's it. We wouldn't have known each other if it weren't for you, Clint. Marv's a top guy. Fumby just cracks me up all day, every day.
You guys are awesome as well. It's been great.
And you made that happen. So, Clint, respect for that.
Respect, man.
Thank you very much, and thank you guys as always. I always say thank you for giving up your time. You could be anywhere, ranting and raving somewhere else, but you're here and we're all together. So let's keep it going, and hopefully we got something positive to talk about.
Hopefully we got a takeover video.
Man, I'll bring the heat. I promise. We'll be fine, man. Let's believe.
I know you will.
That takeover happens, boys. We're gonna tell.
It's a 2-hour video. It's a 2-hour special.
Man. Yeah, man.
We have to go through each position and just naming plays. You think I said Leon Bailey? Leon Bailey was just a start.
He's bringing a shopping list.
I'm bringing a shopping list, boy. I'm bringing players that have already been signed.
Timo Werner up front.
All of them. I'm thinking all of them.
But thanks, guys. And I'll see you.
Take care, lad.
Right, see you later,
boys. Take care.
Bye.